featherweight #1 contender matchup. We got Movsar Evloev coming in at -225 going up against Lerone Murphy, who comes in at +190. Now, Evloev, 19-0. His biggest enemy has been injuries and visa issues and staying active. The last time he competed was December of 2024 when he went up against former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling. Started off slow, but really picked it up in the second and third rounds and ended up grinding that fight out to get the win. He even has a win over Diego Lopez, who has fought for the title twice now, mainly having to do with Lopez's popularity and obviously Lopez fighting, as often as he does. But Evloev should have already fought for a title. Like after he beat Allen, he probably should have gotten a title shot then. But again, not the most entertaining fighter. Obviously, grapple heavy, keeps a lot of pressure, keeps his opponents on their back foot, chain wrestles, re-wrestles, mat returns. This guy does it all. And he has a high-level cardio game as well, right? This guy just constantly goes out there and keeps his foot on the gas, and that often leads to him breaking his opponents. His striking is obviously the weaker part of his game, but it's something that helps him mask his takedowns and his takedown entries. And I think that's one aspect of his game I think we'll see him continue to improve upon. Obviously, training at American Top Team and all the other gyms that he's been at, those guys will round out this guy's skill set enough so that he can be an absolute menace in terms of hiding his takedown attempts and takedown entries. And then once he gets that body lock, once he gets that back ride, he's very hard to get off of you, and he's usually keeping that pressure on and breaking his opponents down. I love everything about this guy's game. Again, he's not the most entertaining fighter, but for some reason, I'm just compelled to really like his style. He also landed this is actually something else to take into consideration. If you look at the UFC stats page of Evloev against Sterling, you'll see that he only landed 8 significant strikes. But when you look into it more, he landed a total of 136 strikes. For some reason, the statisticians over there at UFC Stats do not take ground strikes into consideration as significant strikes. I would ask Aljamain Sterling whether those strikes hurt or not, right? I'm sure not all 136 of them were significant, but definitely more than 8 of them were significant, right? So definitely something else to take into consideration if you're just going off of significant strikes. He gets off on a lot of damage when he gets opponents to the ground and does a great job in terms of keeping them there as well. Now he's going up against hometown underdog here, Lerone Murphy, who looked, well, I won't say he looked fantastic, but he provided a fantastic knockout at the dismay of Aaron Pico last time around. So that was a fight where Lerone Murphy stepped in on short notice from Movsar Evloev, who was supposed to take on Aaron Pico that night. Murphy steps in on super short notice, and he ends up landing a spinning back elbow that puts Aaron Pico clean out. It was one of the nastier knockouts that we saw last year, but it was perfectly timed, perfectly placed, and showcased the veteran skill and IQ of Lerone Murphy. That fight, Pico looked like he was very tense. I don't know if it was the moment that got to him, the hype that got to him, whatever it was, but he was just very tense, very much just walking Murphy down, trying to land big shots, looking for takedown openings, and that's what led allowed Murphy to walk Pico into that spinning back elbow to put Pico clean out. Murphy, very well-rounded. He has lost rounds to guys like Edson Barboza, to Josh Emmett, even Dan Ige. I believe that Dan Ige fight was 1-1 going into the final round, and Ige had a pretty dominant position at the ending of that, at some point in that third round. But the awareness from Murphy to work out of that position, to reverse the position, very high-level trait of him there to get that top position, get out of that bad spot, and then that was enough for him to edge out that win there. But, he's 17-0-1, but he's not going out there and just blowing these guys out of the water. He's doing enough. He's doing enough to clearly win fights, but he's not what you would think a 17-0-1 fighter looks like. He's very good. He probably should have deserved a title shot by now as well. He's headlined a few fight nights for the UFC. Fun fighter in spurts, but I feel like, the Gabriel Santos fight was a very close fight that he won by split decision. Probably could have gone the other way as well. But this is his first time fighting a guy clearly in his prime, has the UFC experience as well, and has the athleticism to cause Lerone Murphy some issues. So, how I see this fight going down. I think Evloev will get to his grappling. I think he'll wear Murphy down. I think people will read into Murphy knocking out Pico a little bit too much, and they'll probably start to play him and say, hey, he's going to knock Evloev out too, but I think Evloev won't be as tense. I don't think he'll be as wound up as Aaron Pico was, and he'll let his game flow a little bit more, and that will lead to Evloev landing those takedowns, getting those takedown positions, really wearing Murphy down, and I think we'll see this fight start to get wider and wider in favor of Evloev as Murphy starts to slow down, as he starts questioning himself in terms of the takedowns that he keeps getting taken down with, the mat returns and all that stuff. I just think Evloev is too well-rounded. I think he's, I'd say Lerone Murphy is a little bit more well-rounded, but I think Evloev is not that far behind him, but he's way ahead of him in terms of the grappling, and that's where I think this fight is going to be dictated the most. So in terms of an official prediction, we're going to go Movsar Evloev here. I don't mind him roughly around this minus 220-ish line he's at. I'm expecting we might see some Murphy love come in later on this week, so I'll sit back and see how that looks. But I like Evloev here. I don't mind passing on him if I don't get the number that I want, but I still think he wins this pretty decisively, and I think he does it on the scorecards, and I cannot wait to eventually see Movsar Evloev against Alexander Volkanovski, hopefully later on this year.